Greetings, Beavemanites and Docutrons. It's the Beaveman coming to you remotely from Arizona. How y'all doing? Hope you're all good. I'm doing good. I got about 3 weeks left here, and then I will be heading back home to the great state of Michigan, and Doc and I won't have to do so many remote podcasts. We are trying out a new application or a new website, if you will, that's helping us to come to you remotely and hopefully have really good sound quality so you could enjoy listening. If you do enjoy listening, please go ahead and listen to Beaveman and the Doc and Beaveman and the Daughter. You can find us on the Apple Podcast app, SoundCloud, Spotify, Podomatic, Player FM, Listen Notes, Podchaser, and we've even got one of our early episodes on YouTube. As always, thanks for listening, and please enjoy this episode of Beaveman and the Doc.
Okay, so that's just how it goes. Pokemon Stadium, beating all the foes. I never played it in a chair, I played it on the floor. Every weekend with that Nintendo 64.
Beavemanites and Docutrons, assemble. Kind of stole that, remember?
Sounds like Transformers.
Yeah, I kind of stole it. I don't even know if we can say Transformers. So,
Yeah.
I've had a particularly very boring week.
My week has been busier than I would prefer.
My week has been, here's what I don't understand about my current situation. You would think, right, if you're going to hire, the type of job that I do is called, we call them being locums or locum work. So a healthcare facility or whatever has a need, they need coverage for their clinic. They hire these people, they pay a lot of money for us because I get a base rate, obviously. And then the company gets paid also. And then they have to pay for lodging, car, whatever. Okay. A lot of money. You would think that if you paid that much money, don't you think you'd have work for me to do?
Um, you know, yeah. I mean, there are so many businesses that can barely afford to operate at all.
Right. So
So,
I'm seeing like let's see, my shift. I'm at work for 11 hours. I get an hour for lunch, which is ridiculous. I don't need an hour for lunch. I'd rather go home a half an hour early. But I'm seeing on average, the entire time I've been here, the most patients I've seen in one day was 18 patients. So 10 hours of actually seeing patients. I can go, the majority of my shifts I've seen 5 or 6 patients a day. And they're paying me a lot of money to see 5 or 6 patients a day. So clearly they don't need coverage.
you think 18 patients is a lot?
18 patients in 10 hours? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, that's not a lot. It's not a lot of patients. It's nice because you get to spend more time with them. I mean,
Well,
that's the
yeah,
ideal amount.
that's
But I
important.
don't actually get to spend that half an hour with them because they take time to check them in. They take time for the medical assistant to check them in, and then they finally get to me. So they might have them for 15 minutes before I ever get them. So they get 15 minutes of my appointment. And I've had it before where they've taken almost the entire time, and I get 2 minutes before the next person's coming. But again, because I'm not busy, I don't really give a crap. But if I was in a busy practice where I'm used to working, I would give a crap. But no, 18 patients in 10 hours is not a big deal. Generally, you get a patient every 20 minutes. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds more what I would have expected.
Well, and
Or
if the
would.
clinic is running appropriately, if the patient gets there 5 to 10 minutes early, like they're supposed to, and checks in, that gets the registration person done with them. That gets them back to the medical assistant. The time that you're scheduled, like if you're scheduled at 10 a.m. for your appointment, at that time at 10 a.m. is supposed to be what time you're in the room with the provider. In other words, they're in the room with you at 10 a.m. So the 10 a.m. isn't the check-in time. It's not the medical assistant's time. It's time with the provider. That's one of the biggest pains in the butt always. That's why people are like, why do you want me to show up early? I'm like, so that you can actually get checked in and get your appointment. And when everybody doesn't, that's why you sit around and wait for an hour to see your provider, which is ridiculous. I go see mine, and I've been there. I've waited for him for 2 hours before.
Yeah, I haven't had that kind of wait time in quite a while, but every now and then it does happen.
Yeah, and it's because other people don't show up, and the clinic isn't running the way it's supposed to run, or there's emergencies. But yeah, but 2 hours, that's ridiculous for a family practice. It's not like my doctor's a surgeon. He's not having to get called in at the hospital or anything.
I seem to
Just
remember hearing something about like court cases where the patient sued the doctor for making them wait that long
oh yeah,
because if the patient misses the appointment, then they can be charged the amount for the visit.
right. Yeah,
But
depending on if you're whatever the clinic policy is. Some of them have a policy that you have to give them 24 hours notice before you cancel, and they can charge you like 25 bucks.
so a 2 hour wait constitutes, according to some judges, I'm sure they've had mixed results, but according to some judges, a 2 hour wait constitutes missing the appointment without notice.
Oh, for sure.
So
If you show up 15 minutes late, that's considered missing the appointment.
yeah,
Depends on the policy. The places I work, if you've got a 20 minute, if you have a 20-minute appointment and you show up like 6 minutes late, your appointment's over. You don't get the appointment,
yeah,
which is
but
reasonable because it's a
when the
20-minute
doctor
appointment.
when the doctor's the one late,
Right.
I don't think that the clinic or hospital has much of a policy in regards to how to deal with the patient in situations like that, other than just try and make them comfortable while they continue waiting.
Yeah, it's different when you're inside the hospital setting because when you're inside the hospital setting, your doctor could easily get called away for something else. And that's part of it when they tell you. When I
Yeah,
worked inside the hospital, in the clinics that were inside the hospital, we had doctors that were on call for admissions or on call for surgery or whatever, and it was part of it. If they said that they had to get called away, they got called away, and that's part of their policy statement with the patients, like a little contract. But it usually doesn't happen that much in family practice and everything. So, no, my doctor really doesn't have much of an excuse to be 2 hours late before I see him. And he can't be taking that much time with every single person that's putting you that far behind that it takes you 2 hours to see somebody.
sounds like he took an extra long lunch or something.
No, he doesn't. I know the guy. I've known him for 12 years. He pretty much doesn't really take a lunch. He works all the time. He works like almost every day of the month. And the days that he's off from his actual practice that he owns, when I knew him a long time ago, he was still picking up like 2 or 3 days in the emergency room on the days that were supposed to be his off days. So, no, it's most likely that you know things weren't running quite in the clinic long, or he talked too much, which is very common for him, or something. It wasn't usually an emergency, but he took that long that one time that he did it. When he came in, I said, you owe me this amount of money because that's how much I charge per hour, like because I've waited this long. That's pretty ridiculous.
What was his reaction? I bet you
He
he was like,
laughed.
I thought so.
He laughed, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't kidding. I wasn't kidding, dude. But no, but anyway, it goes back to my point. I'm not really sure why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here because they're just paying me to sit on my ass, which I thought I was going to be super busy. So being away from home sucks anyway. But if I would have been busy, the time would have gone by faster. But I'm not busy. So
So
it's
the
just,
day just drags on and on and on. Well, haven't you made any new friends over there, or somebody to hang out with, pass the time, whatnot?
no.
Oh well, I,
The clinic that's closest to me is super rural, and it's all women working there. I don't really see any of them because I'm just sitting in my room waiting for patients to show up. And then the clinic that's farther away, there's people there, and I'm more busy there, and they're not that I want to insult the clinic that's closer to me, but the people there are actually cooler. But the other flip side of it is I don't really want to make friends. You know what I mean? Because I'm
because
going to.
you may never come back there again.
Yeah, and what if it ends up that I meet people that I think are like super cool, and I'm like, man, I really want to hang out with these people the rest of my life. I'm like, oh well, see you later, goodbye.
I have friends. The internet's kind of cool that way because I have friends and like a girlfriend. She's a girl and a friend, not my girlfriend, but in New Jersey. A guy friend of mine is in Ohio. Um, Let me see. I have friends in Florida. I have friends in Georgia, and I almost never see them anymore. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Well, that's kind of how I feel about my military friends. I could not see them. I haven't seen them for years. And prior to that, I hadn't seen them for almost, I don't know, 15, 20 years or whatever. And it was just like I just saw them the day before, except they were all looked older. But it's like time never stops. You just pick back up where you were or where you left off, which is cool. But most of the time, it's just not really like that. So no, I wouldn't say I do think there's some cool people where I'm working. Um, but no, I'm not like asking them to go hang out with me or do anything with me. No, it's
Hmm.
just me spending time with you, podcasting, and with my family on the phone, and trying to do stuff around here when it's not freezing. But the weather keeps getting cold and warm and cold and warm, and it seems to be warm. Seems to be warm when I'm working, but not when I'm off.
You need a hobby, one
I
that's
have a
portable.
hobby.
One
I
that's
have a hobby.
portable.
I have a hobby.
You can't
I
podcast all the time.
Well, I'm not podcasting 100% all 100% of the time. I mean, when I'm not doing that, I'm playing my guitar or reading or watching comics, or I got that DC app, DC Universe app, so I've been reading a lot of comics, so that's awesome. And when it's warm, I go outside and work out. But no, I'm just ready to go home. I got 3 weeks left. I'm ready to get out of here.
Hmm. I got about 3 weeks left of class, and then I'm ready for summer break.
So you're not taking any classes during the summer. You're just doing the full on break.
Yeah.
So then, so will you? When do you find out if you make it into the program? Then are you slated for fall?
I'll know what the sign up time for the program is in June. Is June 1st, I think, is when you have to have your submission done. And so, yeah, I got to wait until I finish the class to meet the prereqs.
Right.
So,
So
yeah,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if you don't get in?
mm, job hunting.
Job hunting. What are
That's
you gonna
right.
do? You gonna work on the whole computer thing?
Yeah, go back
Yeah.
looking for IT work. I mean, I'm good at it, but and I can't imagine that if I were looking for part-time classes in the nursing program, part-time usually fills up really fast.
Uh huh.
But I'm looking to go full-time, so I can get it done quicker, and so I expect that uh, that one I won't have much problem with, especially since I've already got a degree, which gives me a big chunk of points, and then having hopefully an A in physiology and an A in anatomy and an A in the psychology. Um, those are all points, big points.
Now, what if it came down to a swimsuit competition? How do you think you would do?
Oh damn, I do look good.
Do you look good? Are you still rocking the speedo like the old days, or
Oh, oh,
did you
that would be.
graduate from the speedo?
Oh, I wear boxer swim trunks now. The
Oh man, really? You didn't stay true to yourself when stick with the speedo.
you know, just the idea of me in a speedo, I can imagine somebody looking at me and thinking, "What a douchebag."
Lots of people still rock the speedo, that shouldn't wear one. There's
N-
plenty of people
n-
that wear them that don't need to wear them.
Not with an oversized belly like mine, I'm
Oh yes,
telling
they
you.
do. Oh yes, there are. You been to the beach recently? I mean, when it gets warm out, go. You'll see people bigger than you wearing a speedo.
Yeah,
So you decide. So if it comes down to a swimsuit competition, you think you're out.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I've seen nursing students. You might still be in.
Some of the girls in those classes are amazing. So,
Amazing and okay.
as,
All right.
as in a swimsuit competition, how do you compete with that?
I don't know. Okay, well, let's see. What would be a different quality? What if it comes down to you have to do a gauntlet? You got to run through a gauntlet. What if it comes down to that? Got to have nursing professors on either side hitting you with rubber tubing from the chem lab.
Now, if I had to race the professor, yeah, I'd be all right. Now, there's a couple students in the class I think I could outpace in
Okay.
in some kind of a obstacle
Are they on?
course.
What are they on oxygen?
No,
No.
they're they're just bigger than me.
Oh, they're bigger than you. Well, don't underestimate those who are bigger than you. My sensei's a big dude, and he moves very quickly for a short period of time. I don't know how he would do in a long period of time, but for a short period of time, he can close distance very quickly. So you never know.
He's got a lot of type 2A or 2B muscle fibers, huh?
I guess. What about? Would you like to address this email that I got to Beaveman in the Doc?
Oh, really? We have our first fan mail.
Would you like me to read it to you?
Sure.
Okay. This is from @spark@gmail.com. That's the
Dear
and it's an
Beaveman,
interesting.
please get rid
Dear
of Doc.
Beaveman, dear Beaveman, you rock. Love the show. Surprised you don't have more followers. Maybe this is the reason. Why is Doc so boring? Love you lots. @spark.
So when did you write that again?
What are you saying? You saying I wrote that and sent it to us personally?
Yeah.
I am insulted that you think that I would. Don't you think I would come up with something much better than that? No.
What can I say?
Well, I'm asking you to respond to this email.
Why is Doc so boring? Well,
Well, first of all,
sometimes
let me
things are
respond
just
and
the way
say,
they are.
yeah, let me respond and say there are far more boring things in the world than Doc. There you go.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, and Doc has followers. We call them docutrons. So there you go.
Yeah, I have at least one.
Yes, he has at least one. So there you go. I did do a little. I'm starting to try to figure out a little bit more, and this is what I'm going to concentrate on when I get back home is promoting the podcast and figuring out how to do that. So, first step is I did find this nice program that we're using now, and hopefully it works out good, and hopefully the sound quality sounds great. It is already working better than the way we've been remote podcasting, so we're going to keep using it. So I'll give a little shout out to Zencaster.com. That's who we're using, and it's not a promotional thing for them. They're not paying me. I wish they were, but they're not. So I'm just going to say that's what we're using right now, and hopefully it works out really good.
It shows a wave pattern when you talk and when I talk, and it's clear that like with mine, the volume, the gain on the mic isn't as high. So I don't know.
Well, you know what I found out is that I talk very quietly, so I have to turn my mic up. I turn my mic up quite a bit. And then when I go in, and I put it into GarageBand, which is what we use, also GarageBand, not paying us, but do love GarageBand. When I go in and put it to GarageBand, I listen to it, and then I mix it to make sure that our volumes are pretty close to each other. But I just naturally talk very quietly. So I have to turn the volume up on my mic a bit.
Well, you probably have a much higher quality microphone too. I'm sure that makes a big difference.
Well, I am using the beautiful blue Yeti. And at home, the mic that you use when we podcast at my home is the Blue Nessie, which is also a really good mic. But the Blue Yeti, I do love this microphone, and I'm thinking about getting another one for you to use. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to give it to you to use because
You don't think I'm worth it?
I might just keep it in a box. I might just keep it in a box for when we have guests, and I'm like, oh, I'll break it out then. I'm like, oh, here, please use my Blue Yeti microphone. There's nothing wrong with your Nessie. I let you use the Nessie, and I use the other crappy mic. But now I have a Yeti.
Because you think I'm boring, you don't think I'm worth it.
Well, sometimes when I mix you, I just completely tune out what you said, and it's just me talking. So no, I don't do that. So I guess what I'm saying is it's been a learning experience. I think it's going good. We did the Beaveman and the daughter for the last one, and the mic dropped out while we were recording it. It was really upsetting because we had some really funny content, the daughter and I. So we had to go back and redo content and then take down the post that I'd already mixed, which sounded okay when I was listening to it through my headphones. But then when we uploaded it the sound completely dropped out. So I had to pull it out and put up a new one.
Yeah,
so that was disappointing.
That's rough when you redo something like that, especially to recapture the same timing to make that humor. It's not very easy to work with.
Yeah, it was harsh because even on our site, on the SoundCloud site where I posted it, I even went on there and said, "Hey, sorry, this sucked. Had to repost it, blah blah blah." And we actually, here's the sad thing though, is that our Beaveman and the Daughter episode, the last one we posted on, got more listens, got more plays than our Beaveman and the Doc episode.
Well, congratulations.
That brings me to my next email. Dear Beaveman and the Doc, why isn't it always just Beaveman and the Daughter? No, just kidding.
Please replace Doc with the daughter.
Please replace Doc with the Daughter. It's okay to keep the same graphic. Maybe merge the two. Whatever. No. Yeah. So now I'm back alone. They came and visited me, and they went and enjoyed some sights here in Arizona, and we had some fun. So that was good.
Well, I had an interesting week as far as spring break goes. Um,
Oh, that's right. It was your spring break, wasn't it? That's right.
yeah. Did some traveling, exploring Michigan, and went to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I went there. I ran a race there when I was in high school.
went through hell to get to paradise. It's kind of the long way around, but we got there.
Paradise is Paradise in the UP?
Sure is. Way
Yeah.
up in the tippy top.
Yeah.
Not quite as far north as Whitefish Point, but pretty close.
I can't remember if I've been to Paradise. I think I have been. Did you check out? Did you drive by Lake Kitchikippy?
No. Most of the state parks up there were closed. They still had about 2.5 feet of snow.
Uh huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the sign out in front of the hotel was nearly buried because they were shoveling the snow off the road and they scoop it off on the side of the road, and so everything is kind of off season and closed up. Although the upper falls were still open. I can't remember the name of there was a brewery up there that we stopped and checked out, and that was open. That was kind of nice. Uh, on the way back, we stopped in Bliss, which is just a little backwater corner store area, Bliss Township, I guess. And we hit a pothole and got a flat tire. So I changed my first tire in a couple decades. And
Did it give you chest pain?
no, although
Oh, okay.
I did get pretty winded. But again, that's what happens when you have a lot of fat in your midsection that gets shoved up into your lungs when you bend over.
Right. If you got to bend over, it's got nowhere to go but to push up. Exactly. Right. No. So, but have you been to Lake Kitchikippy?
No, probably not.
You really have to go. If you'd been, you would remember it.
No, we're talking
a
about
shape
going back
lake.
up there over summertime.
Look it up and go there. It's a little state park. You just drive in there, and it's a shame that it was closed because the fascinating thing about it, there's multiple fascinating things about it, but it doesn't
Kitchikumi?
freeze.
You mean Lake
Kitchik- No,
Kitchikumi?
Kitchikippy. Nope, Kitchikippy.
Okay.
It's a tiny lake. It never freezes. The water's always hot, and it has sulfur springs in it, so you can see all the way down to the bottom, and you can see the lake trout. They're huge, and of course, it's got this legend about this Indian prince dying there or whatever. Look it up. It's really worth your time. It's just right off the road. You just drive into that state park and take a look. It is absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful.
I wonder.
I don't think a lot of people realize how beautiful Michigan really is. All the different places that are just extraordinary.
The trail kept going. It looked like we stopped at the upper falls. I wonder if we had kept on walking, if we would have seen it.
So, did you do like the route where it has like every so often you can go drive off the road and you'll see a different fall and there's all the falls along the side of the road and all that stuff, even some of the tiny ones? Is that what you did?
Yeah, it was about a half-mile walk, maybe a little further, but it was beautiful. I mean,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
the water was brown. One nice thing about going this time of the year like we did is there were no mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because they do get pretty nasty up there, and the black flies are pretty bad too.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. But it was cool because the ice that was formed over the parts of the waterfall, it made it look really, really cool. Although the water was kind of brown, they were the sign was describing it was because of the amounts of tannic acid that was in the water, which you wouldn't want to drink it, but it wouldn't hurt you.
Well, yeah, I definitely like it up there. To see what is it, painted rock or pictured rock, also very beautiful up there on Lake Superior, but super freezing. Even if you go up in the summer, it's still very cold to try to go into that water.
Yeah.
Very cold, very cold. You should really go to Kitchen to Kippy though. Look it up. Do me a favor, look it up. You like folklore? I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah.
Myths, legends. There's good myths and legends about the Native Americans in that body of water. It's very cool, and it's up in the Manistee area. So check it out.
I'm
Speaking of
looking
which,
at it right now.
it's very cool. You'd love it. It's amazing. I saw it once when they told us, one of our teachers when I was in elementary school told us one of the legends, and we went up to was it Indian River? I think it is.
Wow, that is
Where the
some
cross,
crystal clear water.
yeah, where the cross. I think I actually have video of it too. And we just happened to be driving around up there when I was a kid, and I saw the sign for it. And I asked my parents, I was like, "Can we please go there?" And strangely enough, they said yes. And we just drove off. We just happened to be right by it. Drove off the road, saw it. And this last time, I think it was 2 years ago, we went to vacation up there up north. And I told my wife, I'm like, "We're going there." And we found out our route, not far off of the route we were on, because there's only what, two highways up there.
Mm.
Is that what it is? Kind of one north south, one south, one east west type. And yeah, we saw it again. Absolutely amazing. Still breathtaking, just like when I was a kid. So definitely go see it. Any Michigan listeners, I highly recommend going up there and taking a look.
Okay, I see where it's at. Yeah, that's quite a bit further west than we went.
Well,
Uh,
get your ass west. Go up there and see it.
next trip. Next trip.
Next trip, man. I'm telling you,
It's on my
beautiful. It's
list.
worth it. Totally worth it. You know what I saw recently? You're a sci-fi guy.
Oh, big time.
Um, would it would it interest you to know that I saw a what do you call it? A meteorite crater, a crater formed by a meteorite.
Like a new one?
No, this one's old. I can't remember when it was, but it's like one of the most well preserved in America. It's just outside of Winslow, Arizona.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the one, the really big one?
Yeah, it's pretty darn big. They've got a building that you actually, instead of just being able to go see this crater site, it's privately owned. How shitty is that? Not even owned by the government. So we paid $18 a person, $12 for my daughter to go. We were there for less than a half an hour, so $45 to go look at this crater because we were on our way to the Grand Canyon. It was totally cool to see. Not so cool to have to pay $45 to go see something that a meteor caused. It cost us, let me put it this way, it cost us $35 to go see the Grand Canyon,
Huh.
but $45 to go see this crater. How
Well,
shitty is that?
look at the bright side. There's always Google Maps.
Right. Somebody else told me that too. They're like, you could have seen the same thing with Google Maps. I'm like, I suppose I could have.
What?
I guess it was worth it.
It's
It
fun
was
to be
nice to
able to
see
say you
something.
were there.
It is cool to see it. It was also cool to drive through Winslow, Arizona and go stand on the corner and take pictures where it says standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona.
Did you see a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford slowing down to take a look at you?
No, but do you think that really happened to him? I mean, how arrogant is that? Did somebody really slow down to take a look at him? Anyway, whatever.
Well,
No, we
he
took some
he is
pictures
a
there.
celebrity.
Well, but did they know that at the time when the song was made? Maybe they were slowing down to look at him and say, "Who the hell is this serial killer?
Mhm.
I'm not picking that guy up." Anyway, back to sci-fi. I got a story for you. I did a little bit of writing. I wanted to see how this would go over. Want to hear this story I got?
This ought to be good.
Yeah, just tell me what you think. We can stop along the way. You can give me critiques if you like. It's not like I'm going to publish this story, but it directly relates to our topic for today. So this is how I'm going to draw you in, if I may.
Okay.
I'll go with my narrator voice. In a flash, not detectable to the human eye, the trans-dimensional portal opened. The carefully shielded spacecraft made it successfully through the Earth's atmosphere. Thousands of vessels, not detectable to the human eye, alighted in the grassy remote field in England. As the sun began to rise, millions of microscopic alien invaders navigated through the tall grass, spreading out over an area of approximately 100 square feet, and they waited. Drawing the nutrients from the sun itself, just like in their home galaxy, The tiny invaders produced their own food, much like the photosynthesis of the vegetation of Earth. Their mission on this planet was the same as their predecessors before them: infiltrate, occupy, and conquer. Spread the collective consciousness. Make this planet their own, as they had for centuries on other worlds. Primitive mammalian organisms approached. Patience is a human trait. It does not translate to the collective consciousness of the alien organism. In human time, they may have waited 1 minute or 100 years. It did not matter. The gentle dairy cow bent its massive head, gathered sweet grass in its mouth, and chewed contently. The old man walked up to the still form of the dairy cow and gave it a little nudge with the toe of his well-worn boot. He gave a gentle sigh. Walking back to the barn, he looked out on the great expanse of his farm and took in the morning sun. As he fired up the old Alice Chalmers tractor, he wondered if the missus was going to make a pie today. It was 1987. They had been married since 1945 after the war. She was with a contingent of the American Red Cross. He had married a Yank, and she had stayed here with him in England. He called to his 2 farmhands, and they made their way to the carcass. Utilizing the winch, they loaded the old girl onto the wagon and slowly made their way up to the barn adjacent to the farmhouse.
That's not bad, dude.
I'm going on. All right. You're tracking with me so far.
Yeah.
Is it grabbing your attention, or is it just my voice? Is it my reading voice?
I don't know about the reading voice, but
I totally agree.
The idea of microscopic aliens, I mean, that's kind of a new thing. We would
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't watch sci-fi. I'm not a sci-fi guy. I mean, I enjoy some of it. It's not like I sit around and watch it as much as you do. I'm more of a, you know me. I'm more of a superhero person.
Kind of like, you seen that movie Dave with Eddie Murphy?
What is it?
It's called Dave. There's these little tiny people. They're like an inch tall, and they created a robot that is their ship that looks as big as a human and looks like a human, and he's going around trying to plot conquering the Earth.
Interesting. No, yeah. I did not. So almost like that little guy that's inside the big dude on the first Men in Black movie.
Yes.
Except not that tiny.
No, actually, they're much smaller.
I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're not microscopic.
Gotcha. All right. You want me to continue then?
Sure.
This is only the first part of the story. All right. It's only the first part of the story. All right. Later that morning, he walked into the house. The aroma of apple pie hit him square in the face, and he grinned. Picking up the phone, he dialed the familiar number for the processing plant. They would be by later that afternoon to get the carcass. He hung up and made his way to the kitchen. Standing over the pie, grinning ear to ear, he bent down and inhaled deeply. I do love pie, he thought to himself. So do I. The carcass was removed in that afternoon as promised. At the plant, it was processed and blended with feed for consumption by livestock, as was the common practice. The circle of life, if you will. Robert was walking back to the barracks on the airbase. He had just come from dinner with his fiancée, Valerie. He had been stationed in the UK for 2 years now as a member of the United States Air Force. He thought about what he would do after service. Get married, obviously, move back home, and go to college to get a degree in communications. As luck would have it, his future wife was also from the Midwest. They celebrated their new engagement over a delicious prime rib dinner for him, salmon for her, and a bottle of wine that they could afford as 2 young service members. The year was 1993. Life was good, and it was only going to get better. Fast forward in the future, 32-year-old Robert awoke one morning and felt as tired as when he went to sleep, like his brain was foggy. This was unusual for him. He was nearing his 33rd birthday, but he never felt old before. A father of 4 young children, he had taken up walking and hiking as his hobby and main form of exercise shortly after he got out of the Air Force. He liked to go camping with his wife and children. He did not think much about it and went about his day. Across the world, cattle were dying in record numbers. The microscopic invaders began reproducing at an exponential rate. Many countries began preventatively destroying large herds of cattle. Family pets like cats and dogs began dying as well. The World Health Organization placed a ban on livestock, and the export of beef. The mini invaders continued production of spacecraft inside their hosts. Whole colonies occupied hosts until they expired or were butchered for food. Rotting carcasses did not deter the invaders. They simply engulfed the area of decay and waited for consumption by scavengers of carrion. It had been 2 months, and Robert felt like he was in a constant mental fog, like he was not in control of his own mind and body. He had been to his doctor twice, whom had informed him that he wasn't 18 anymore and that he was still very healthy. He suggested he get at least 8 hours of sleep at night and avoid fast food. Robert insisted that something was wrong and asked his doctor to order blood work. The doctor checked his blood counts, thyroid, testosterone, and various panels for nutritional deficiencies. They all came back normal. So,
So it's
intrigued?
not showing up on the microscope yet.
Intrigued?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think you're onto something.
All right.
Assuming
Robert began to-
you can give the alien a little more intelligence, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no,
Right
these are
now
super,
they're just
they're super intelligent. Yeah, right now they're just seemingly that they are just parasitic, but no, they're super intelligent, obviously.
building their foothold.
Their transdimensional travel and the ability to make spacecraft and obtain a foothold and conquer. Let's see here. Robert began to feel like his memory was failing him. Sometimes he had difficulty finding the right words to say. He had muscle spasms and felt like sometimes it was hard to walk, and his vision was blurry. At one point, he was driving home from work and lost his way. He had made the same trip for the past 4 years every workday. The doctor ordered additional tests to include checking for HIV, Lyme disease, bacterial, fungal, and viral infections. They all came back normal. Referrals to a neurologist were initiated. CT scans and cognitive testing was performed. He saw an eye doctor who prescribed eyeglasses. It was recommended by his doctor that he see a psychiatrist, as he felt perhaps there was an underlying psychological condition and maybe this could explain some of the symptoms. Robert admitted he had felt a lot more depressed than he had ever felt in his life. Unbeknownst to Robert and his family, this same phenomenon was happening all over the world at a rate of 1 in every 2,000 people. Robert's family was very supportive. His wife was ever vigilant and felt that something was wrong and that more testing needed to be done. Robert was placed on vitamin supplements and an antidepressant. Finally, Robert's wife insisted on a referral to an infectious disease specialist. The infectious disease specialist did a thorough history and exam and consulted with another neurologist that he knew from college whom lived out of state and worked for a well-respected hospital system known for advances in neuroscience. Imaging studies to include a special type of MRI, blood work, and a spinal tap were ordered. It had been nearly 1 year since Robert's first symptom of fatigue had appeared. At this point, Robert had stopped working. His speech was difficult to understand. He utilized a scooter because his gait was spastic and unsteady at times. He could no longer eat his favorite foods because he was at risk for choking. Robert was no longer Robert. His wife and children were devastated. There had been no answers up to this point. Robert was approaching his 34th birthday. Results of the spinal tap were abnormal. Changes in the brain tissue were noted on the MRI. The infectious disease specialist spoke to the family in private, and the neurologist was present via telemedicine on the monitor. The infectious disease doctor delivered the family a shocking diagnosis. It was highly probable that Robert had variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, a form of prion disease, or prion, depending on the pronunciation. There was no known cure. Robert experienced a rapid decline and became nonverbal. He passed away prior to his 34th birthday under the care of hospice at home, surrounded by the people that loved him. It had been less than 1 year from the onset of his symptoms until his death. The autopsy and pathology reports confirmed the diagnosis of prion disease. It was felt that Robert contracted the condition by consuming infected beef during his service in the Air Force between the years 1991 and 1994. As a precaution, the family had genetic testing performed to look for the presence of genetic prion disorders. All the tests were negative. Sometimes, Valerie thinks back to that night, so long ago when they celebrated their engagement, and wonders, what would have happened if he would have just ordered the salmon? Dr. Johnson, a pathologist, awoke early one morning feeling as though he had never slept. He had not been this tired since his residency. Oh well, better get a move on, he thought. He had a busy day of examining post-mortem slides in the lab. In the expanse of 1 year, deaths are reported widespread throughout the world. At the end of 1 year, prion illness is reported in record numbers never seen before. It doubles exponentially. Consumption of cal is a thing of the past, but persons still succumb to the illness. The prion protein identified is different than seen previously. The most perplexing finding on post-mortem samples is the rapid disappearance of the prions over a brief period of time, as this had never been seen in the past. Lab animals at research facilities began to die from a type of chronic wasting disease and swelling of the brain known as encephalopathy. Scientists hypothesize that much like the prion conditions they previously encountered, the incubation period is anywhere from 5 to 20 years before the condition manifests. Other scientists disagree, citing cases that seem to occur spontaneously with no known prior exposure in young children with a rapid onset of death. It is already too late. We have already consumed the infected meat. Scientists race to find a cure, but there isn't one. Will Smith can't save us this time, and so we wait. That's it.
That's what you've been spending your time doing? That's pretty good, man.
No, I wrote that in like an hour.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, draw yourself up a storyboard. You should keep going. I mean, it's a little heavy on the the medical jargon, but I think it fits because of the fact that I imagine because they're microscopic aliens that somebody in the medical field is going to be the one that actually discovers them and manages to save the human race, perhaps.
Well, here's the frightening thing is I wrote that story as a science fiction story. Unfortunately, it is a true invader. It is not an alien invader. I wrote it as a science fiction story. But the organism, if you will, though it's not an organism, it's a protein. This particular protein, we have no cure for. It is the protein that causes death from the different types of Creutzfeldt-Jakob diseases in humans, and the same that causes death in bovine species, or mad cow disease, or bovine spongiform encephalopathy, scrapie in sheep, and this is all already occurring. So I wrote it as a science fiction. I changed some of the symptoms that the patient had, and of course threw in the space stuff and all that junk. But this is the most frightening condition I would think that a medical person could encounter. Far more terrifying than cancer.
Yeah, having all the potentials of disease, but an intelligent disease, basically.
Well, what's fascinating about the prion or prion, depending on how you pronounce it, the gene itself is normal in the human body, that specific prion gene. And the prion protein itself, it has a prion protein. The prion protein cellular form of it is normal for humans. What is not normal is when they start folding in a way that they are not supposed to fold. And this is either from, which is scary, is it can be sporadic. It can happen for reasons that we cannot determine. It can be from exposure to infected meat, like when they had the mad cow outbreak, or it can be iatrogenic. Somehow we've passed it medically on to someone else by like a corneal transplant, something like that. But there's no cure for it, and most of the time, and it can be genetic. You can be born with a variant of it that's super frightening, and that it may take medical people a while to actually find it because it mimics so many other neurological disorders. And by the time that you figure out that it might actually be a prion disease, well, it's too late. There's no cure for it anyway. There's no cure for it, even if you found it out as soon as the disease manifested itself. So as soon as somebody came in the symptoms with me, said that to me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a prion disease, it wouldn't matter because they're going to die. It's frightening.
Yeah.
Basically, these proteins misfold. They don't fold. Proteins have their own specific pattern that they're supposed to fold into. And not only can these proteins take on this abnormal shape, but our body's own defenses that are already in place for how to destroy proteins, these particular proteins are resistant to it, and our own body cannot destroy them. Autoclaving can't destroy them. No medicines that we have can destroy them. They are not fungal, they're not bacterial, they're resistant to lysis by enzymes that we make in our own body. So
There
it's
was a show called Millennium. Do you remember it?
no, I do not remember Millennium. When
Okay.
was that on? Was it on at the Millennium? Was that on in the year 2000?
It might have been. It's an older show, but it, what, maybe a little bit after the X Files,
Oh, okay.
right around that time. But yeah, they had a the Millennium Group were the bad guys, and they were trying to release what what could equate to a virus, but it was a protein that was delivered, or a contagious protein that was delivered through contact with birds.
Okay.
So yeah, kind of sounds like that.
No, I'm sure a very similar idea because if when we talk about what's the saying about truth and fantasy, uh, truth is scarier than reality. I don't know, whatever more interesting than, or I don't know. This is it's a frightening condition because it's, for example, if it wasn't one that was a if it wasn't one that's a variant. In other words, if it wasn't one that you got because you had contaminated beef, well, the onset of that could be very quick and usually in a young age. But if it was, say, genetic, and you didn't know, genetic testing has only been around for really not that long. So where it was very specific. So, for example, my grandfather had dementia, pretty bad. And it was hypothesized that his was most likely secondary to the amount of alcohol he consumed. He consumed a lot. And he died at like 82, 83. Well, let's say my grandpa would have died at like 50 or 60. But his diagnosis at that time was Alzheimer's. And he died from a complication from Alzheimer's. Well, there would have been no reason to do an autopsy on him. They could have just said, well, it's early onset alcohol induced Alzheimer's or dementia. He wouldn't have had, he wouldn't have had a biopsy or autopsy or pathology done on his brain. He would have just passed away. So it's hypothesized that possibly we have more incidents of people with inherited types of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, but they didn't know it because their family members may have just been misdiagnosed with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's dementia or something like that, and they just passed away.
When
So what I'm saying is this lies dormant. It doesn't manifest until you're older. So you could have it manifest when you're 50 years old and you could have a rapid decline and die, but you've already had children, and God forbid that could have been passed on to them, which could only be found out with genetic testing.
when a protein becomes misshapen like that, they call it denatured, right? Is that the term, or is it not quite the same thing?
Denature just denotes that it's degraded in a way or form. So that denotes the beginning of the breakdown of it. But this is just protein folding, so it's not going to meet up with the other, it's like its receptor sites like it normally would. Proteins misfold all the time, but our body is able to get them to refold and reshape generally into the shape that they're supposed to be. So it's not usually a problem. And if they don't, then there's protein enzymes that just break them down.
And get rid of them, right?
Right. But the prion protein is resistant to that. So prion protein scrapie is what it's called. It is resistant to it, so the body doesn't. So what it can actually do is bind to other proteins like itself, the other prion proteins, and change them into the prion protein cellular and change them into the prion protein scrapie. So, and then basically what they do is just kind of they attach themselves to what is it, the neuronal body, the body of the neuron, and infiltrate that and cause the inflammation and destruction and cysts, and that actually looks like it's burning holes through the brain tissue, giving it a sponge-like appearance, and that's where they got the term for the spongiform encephalopathy.
Yeah.
Because it looks like spongy. It looks like spongy tissue in cattle.
SpongeBob SquareBrain.
So we can't you even if that's what's suspected, they can test it with the MRI and look for the presence and the different signals in the different parts of the brain that they would suspect that it's a prion disease. And they have also testing with the spinal tap, or the where they can get the fluid, the spinal fluid, and examine that and have the suspicion also for prion disease. But the best way to diagnose this is post-mortem, when they actually look at the brain tissue and say, oh yeah, it was definitely a prion disease. And of course, by then, it's one of those things where you can't do anything. They can do antemortem brain biopsies. I don't know that I would want anybody taking a sample of my brain, especially since if it does come back as a prion disease, what was the good of them taking a chunk out of my brain if they can't fix it?
Well, that's another problem is they might be taking good brain tissue, which is something that you're running out of at that
Right.
point.
So, yeah. So I guess the question now always is, what would be, here's the worrisome part, is if it's it's one of those things, if it's acquired, maybe you ate some tainted beef or whatever a long time ago, and it manifests before the age of da 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 da. As long as it's not passed on, great. I would rather have that acquired form or that variant form, as opposed to having the genetic form that I could have possibly already passed on to my children. How horrifying would that be?
Now, here's a thought for your story that you're writing, and you may want to edit this out to prevent spoilers if you want it to go somewhere. But you could say that these advanced aliens develop nanites, which reanimate the bodies of dead humans, and you could turn it
Oh,
into
so
a
now we're
zombie
back to the
apocalypse.
zombies.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. Well, then it would be their own vessel anyway for utilization. So
yeah,
if they wanted to control it themselves, they could.
weaponizing their
Um,
enemies' corpses against the enemy.
well, possibly. But we already can't kill them, so it doesn't really matter what they do. I told you, Will Smith isn't going to fix it.
Maybe they could find a way.
Maybe. Well,
Unless
for us,
unless you want it unless you want it to be one of those stories where all the main characters die at the end.
well, I really only wrote the story for the medical condition as a way of presenting it so that we could talk about it, to
Oh,
make it more interesting.
well,
So what I did was I took a scary thing that actually exists and I threw it into a sci-fi world. That was my plan.
well, it worked. You
I
you
thought it'd
could
be kind of interesting for me to do that, from now on. I thought that'd be an interesting way of doing things.
you should take it another step. You should finish the story, round it out.
I did. They're all dead. Everybody died. Everybody in the world is dead. Every living thing is dead.
Well, that may be the way it ends, but you could fill it out more.
Well, maybe I'll just do this from now on and just have a book of short stories. There you go.
That'll work too.
But no, so I did want to tell you though. You know how I was telling you that I have a subscription to Wired magazine, and no, Wired does not give us money. I wish they did, but it's a very good magazine. It's also online, but the what do you call it? The impetus or the inspiration for writing that story and doing this podcast is from a story in Wired. It's an article, and this is about a young lady named Sonia and her husband Eric. And Sonia's mother passed away from a prion related disorder. Her mother passed away at the age of 52, and the specific disorder that she passed away from is oh gosh, I'm gonna jack it up here. It's one of the prion disorders, but it's the familial insomnia. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so that was the inspiration for me writing this. So it's a very good article. Basically, her mother passed away. They did the biopsies, they did the studies, they did the test to confirm that is actually what did kill her at a very young age. And then she opted, to have the genetic testing herself. And unfortunately, the genetic testing came back positive and said that she does have this as well, which is frightening. So she and her husband both went back to school and became scientists and are in a race to try to find a cure to this prion condition, which is just amazing and frightening at the same time. So I thought that was very interesting.
Hmm.
So I highly recommend that people read this article. It's in Wired, February of 2019. 27.02 is the issue number. The name of the article is Sleep No More by Kelly Clancy. Very good article. I wish them the best. I hope that they do find this, because if they do find a way, more than likely what they would be able to do is hopefully find a way to be able to slow down the protein folding. I don't know that someday somebody's going to find a cure, I hope, but hopefully they'll be able to find a way just to slow down the folding, or to keep the spread so that people have a prolonged life. And hopefully it's not a life that's racked with misery. Oh, it's called fatal familial insomnia. So you can imagine that obviously the presenting symptom of that one is insomnia. Insomnia just compounded by insomnia. No success, most likely, with the medications that we give folks to fall asleep.
Hmm.
So, frightening. But then medicine is like that. So I'll probably sneak another one in on you, where I come up with something that I find completely horrible and write a story about it.
Well, I tried writing a story. It's just I seem to lack the patience for it. I
Yeah.
have ideas that sound good in discussion, but to actually put them in the correct order and present them the right way, that's an art unto itself. So
Oh yeah, you can't. I think there's some really decent artists out there. I mean, great writers. But yeah, it's like anything else. If you have a project, it's just like your homework. If you have a paper that you have to write, you have to decide that you're just going to write it. And then even if it sucks, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is you can have all these ideas in your head and want to put them on paper, but if you don't ever start it and don't ever write it, what difference does it make? And you just have to finish your project, even if it sucks. You can go back and rewrite it and rewrite separate parts of it, but if you're going to start something, you just need to start it and do it. I mean, I didn't write that story to write a science fiction story. I just wrote it because I thought it would be a good way of presenting this particular disease to you, and not bore you, or not bore the listeners either, and to make it entertaining.
well, I've been thinking about making a character um, for a story. Yeah, I've been working on it for a long time, and I'm still trying to work out his background. But it's definitely going to have kind of a horror twinge to it. But think of it like a carrier of a disease. Only instead of the disease, it's a curse. So the people around him wind up being cursed because he is cursed.
Oh,
For
okay. So
yeah,
you're gonna throw the magic in it. So you're gonna get the sci-fi with the magic,
yeah.
basically.
There's going to be some supernatural stuff going on. That's the whole point. Um,
Well, see, Shazam should be your favorite comic book character then.
well, yeah, the original, the way they used to describe the story, they've changed it quite a bit.
Well, I mean, it's been around since 1942. So, isn't that what I told you? 42 or something like that. It's been around 40 or 42. So all comics go through their evolution because of the time. I do like Captain Marvel by himself or Shazam by himself. I'm not such a huge fan of the giant family, but that's been since the beginning. He's had Mary Marvel and Marvel Jr. since the beginning. So there's always been and Uncle Dudley and Taki Tawny and all that stuff since the beginning. So I do like Shazam by himself personally, but whatever. But the cool thing about Shazam compared to Superman is subjected to attack. He's kind of vulnerable to magic, whereas Shazam is not as vulnerable
He's
as Superman.
he's vulnerable in his mortal state.
Right. Yeah. When he's Billy. Yeah. When he's Billy, he's Billy. Yeah, that's
And
all
he
there is
can,
to it.
and
Right.
Shazam can only be hurt by magic. So, Superman could walk up and give him his best shot. It's not going to kill him,
Yeah.
but
He's basically resistant to mortal weaponry.
yeah. So
It's more magic affects him not as much as it would the regular superheroes, but he is more subject to magic attack.
now if somebody made
True. But
Superman a pair of magic gloves, he would just devastate Shazam. But
that ain't happening.
probably not.
Probably not. You would enjoy Justice League Dark. That's a really pretty good series.
I'm looking forward to Brightburn.
What, oh yeah,
Did you
yeah. You were
watch the
telling me about
trailer
that.
for that yet?
No, I'll have to watch it. Did you see that there's Hellboy's coming out? They rebooted Hellboy, and the
Yeah,
trailer's pretty good. The trailer's pretty good.
I'm having trouble. I really like the guy who played Hellboy before.
I really did too, and he could have done it again because he's just old. I mean, he could have done it
They
again,
could have
but
put
the
makeup on
reboot,
him to make him look younger.
right? Well, they could have just made him. Yeah, he could just be an old Hellboy. Already been around for a long time, but the reboot looks pretty good. I'm kind of excited about it. It comes out, I think, on the 12th, so I'm gonna go see it. I think it's gonna be good.
Now, Hellboy, is he's not Marvel or DC, is he?
No, he's Dark Horse. He Dark Horse Comics,
That's,
if I'm correct,
that's
I
what I
remember
thought.
correctly. Hmm.
Yep.
Very good. I like that. I like Hellboy. It's pretty good. No, I think that'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to not see it. I'll tell you that.
Well, it depends. I may wait for it to come out on video and rent it or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't beat the home theater experience.
Yeah, especially when you got a 75-inch TV in your basement.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
See, I do not have a 75-inch TV.
yeah.
My question is regarding the little prion disease that we just talked about in the story. Would you, if you knew, much like Huntington's, how devastating Huntington's chorea is, things like that, stuff that doesn't manifest until you're older. If you knew ahead of time that you carried this genetic trait and you could pass it on to your child, would you have children?
Well, with Huntington's, it's basically a 50-50 chance. Um,
But you wouldn't know till
you wouldn't
you
know
had the
until the
symptoms
kid was
anyway.
born, right?
Yeah. But I'm saying if we could go back and if you had the power to go back in time and know these things, and if you were already going to have this condition, if you were already genetically programmed to have it, and there's no known cure, just like Huntington, there's no cure. At least Huntington's, you keep your mind.
Well,
Yeah.
yes and no.
Well, no, Huntington's you don't keep your mind. It's amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. You keep your mind. Huntington's you don't.
Right.
Um, but if you
Huntington's,
had
they have
the
definite
ALS,
mood changes or personality
yeah,
changes. I
let's
don't
say it was
know.
ALS. Let's say it's any of them. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Huntington's disease, Creutzfeldt-Jakob, any of them. If you could go back in time and not have children, would you not have children, knowing the risk that you're putting them through?
If it's just a risk, like a 50-50 chance, I might have a kid. Um, but if it's like a guaranteed thing, no, I wouldn't have kids.
Now, what if your child had a 50-50 chance of having an 8-inch penis?
Well, then I'd be proud, I guess.
Well, in that case, I'm definitely having a kid. In that case, it could only benefit him in the long run, and maybe from his success, benefit me as well. Um, yeah. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that question. Obviously,
Now,
I don't have any choice. We already have our children, and we're already old, or
now, if it turned out that one of my real life kids had some kind of genetic disease that was passed on from me, would I go back and undo it? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't change what already is. But if I could prevent it, knowingly prevent it from being spread in the future, yes, I would. I would not.
what if the prevention involved you having to become a homosexual?
Um, no, I would just be celibate in that case.
What if the prevention meant that you could never have carbohydrate your entire life?
Ugh, that would be just really unfortunate.
You say you would rather you're like I'm not doing it. And you're like, fuck it, if I can't have Mountain Dew, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'd probably still feel the same way. I probably wouldn't have kids. So,
Yeah, I think that I don't think I would have kids. I don't think I would.
well,
Because
I would feel
it would be
guilty.
too. Oh, you'd feel guilty. Um, what if What if they made you feel guilty? They're like, you knew and you still had me, and you don't have any choice. It's already happened. It's already happened.
Yeah, but if they tried laying the guilt trip on me, I'd probably, out of reflex,
I hope you get that shit. You're
I'd
like,
be
fuck you, I hope you get it.
I could end you now if that would make you feel better.
Right. Would it make you feel better to know that I could make another one that looks just like you? No, I don't know. I mean, obviously, well, we don't know now. I mean, we could be living with this condition. We could be living with a similar condition right now. It just hasn't manifested in us yet. Life is this giant crapshoot. It just sucks ass all the way around. That's why you got to make the most of it.
Well, like they say, that's the thing about life. Nobody gets out of it alive.
Right. That is for one thing we know for sure is that every person that's ever been born has died. That is what we know for sure.
At least once.
At least once. Oh. So what was the other question I was going to ask you? I'm going to ask you if you would do that. You're okay with having a child if you're for sure got a 50-50 chance of him having an 8-inch penis or longer. So we know where your loyalties lie in that respect. Okay, well, good. Okay, well, I guess I didn't have any other questions. I thought I did. I thought I had other questions, but apparently I don't. Apparently I don't have any other questions. All right, well, maybe I'll write a story next time. I don't know. And you saw Shazam and you enjoyed it, just didn't like the ending.
Yeah, I mean, as far as stories go, it was entertaining. It was good.
It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I've read a lot more. I've read a lot of the Shazam comics in preparation, and now that I got the DC app, so I knew where they were going with it.
I just
If it
didn't
makes you
like
feel any better.
I didn't like that they changed
No spoiler. No
the
spoiler. No
story
spoiler.
from what I remember. So
But they didn't. That's the thing, though, is they didn't change the story.
from the original,
From what you remember, yeah, but they really didn't. There's been lots of evolutions.
well,
So
I don't like evolutions of you take something good and you go trying to evolve it into something else, and it's not the same thing anymore, therefore not as good.
well, they got to adapt it to the
It's
reader,
kind of like
but
the
there's plenty of people who enjoy it. And you have to remember that they've brought Shazam back a bunch of times, and it just didn't get it didn't get the interest that they were hoping for. So they keep bringing it back. So it doesn't have it doesn't ever have that great following.
hey,
So they keep trying to evolve things.
I know it's a bit of a change of topic, but there was something that I read about the other day that I wanted to ask you about. Have you seen the movie Stargate?
Yeah, you've asked me that like on 5 podcasts.
Oh,
The
well,
answer is still yes. We did a podcast on Stargate.
I just wanted to make sure that I'm not remembering wrong. And people say
we
I'm
did a
boring.
podcast. We did a podcast on Stargate
And people say I'm boring.
when we talked about pyramids. Didn't we? We talked about Stargate.
Yeah, we mentioned it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
anyway, there was.
You asked me if I've watched the TV show too. Yes, I still have not seen the TV show.
Oh, wow, you're missing out. The TV show's pretty cool. But I read an article where they were talking about the possibility that Ra was actually an Asgard. Now you know who
Okay.
the Asgard are, right?
Of course.
Okay, like Thor and Odin and Loki and
Yeah, Balder.
yeah,
Sure.
all of them. But they said that that's why Ra was so much more powerful than all of the other system lords because he had Asgard technology, which let him dominate.
Hmm.
And when the humans took him out, it's only because he had his guard down at the time.
Well, he's clearly a boy lover too. So
Yeah,
that's why.
he was a bad guy.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I think what we're gonna do is, are you planning on seeing off topic again? But are you planning on seeing Shazam again?
No, I can't imagine why I would.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to catch it this weekend, and then we're going to we'll invite Skylar back, and we'll hit up Shazam.
See what has he seen it yet?
He's seen it. I think he's seen it twice.
Oh,
So we'll have him hit up that, and we'll kind of make that our thing with the superhero movies. We'll invite him in because we've got a few coming up. We've got the next Avengers, the End Game's coming up, so we got that to look forward to.
yeah.
That should be good.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna go watch that one or not. I guess I'll wait until the next time all the kids are back in town at the same time and see if they want to go. I might go if that's the case.
Well, it's been good for me here because I just tooled down to Tempe, and I've been able to see some of the movies at the Alamo. So you can't beat a movie at the Alamo.
I think they closed down the Alamo in Kalamazoo.
Oh, it's been closed down for years now, man. My son used to work there.
I went there. A few years ago, and it was the first time I got to eat a pizza and a beer during a movie.
Oh yeah, can't beat it, man. That's what I'm saying. You can't beat a movie at the Alamo.
It was good pizza
Now
too, man.
they closed it down because the bigger movie theater company came in and outbid them for the lease. That's why they were actually the top performing Alamo in the country at the time.
Really?
Yep. Very unfortunate, but they're still alive and well, and they got one in Tempe and one in Chandler, and I guess they're getting one in Gilbert. So I've been down to the one in Tempe, I think 3 times now that I've been here in Arizona. So at least I got to do that. That was cool. So got my pizza, got my salted caramel milkshake, and my popcorn, and gained like 5 pounds. Anyway, all right, cool. All right, so I guess we'll wrap it up then. Got that to look forward to. I will. I guess I'll keep writing these things. At least Doc can criticize them. And thanks for that letter you guys wrote in that email.
I have lost 5 pounds too, by the way.
Did you ship blood for a month?
No, I just
Should I'm anemic.
I just pissed a lot, I guess.
I've been losing blood. No, okay. Well, that's good. It's always good to lose some weight. All right. Well, as always, thank you, Docutrons and Beavemanites, for assembling for this fine presentation of Beaveman and the Doc. Get out there, listen, and share. And as always, did I even say this was Beaveman and the Doc? I don't know.
No, you kind of skipped it.
I was the Beaveman. I'm the Beaveman. He's the Doc. You know how it goes.
Crickets, bitches.
That, I guess, a little bit. Crickets, bitches, and adios, much fuckos. All right. We're out.